And today we're reacting to Saweetie finally responds to the allegations. It's been a while. When May, she was saying these things. We watched an O'Shea one and a Poetic video of there's basically two different parts of the situation. One going a little bit deeper, one giving the surface level. And I was wondering, like, when will she respond to this? Because if she don't, it's just like, hey, I'm calling. Hey, they got me. Let's see what she has to say, because I guess that's finally here, man. Hey, I love y'all. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for everything. Thank you so much for holding me down while I was at my mom's crib. I'm gonna be doing a little bit more traveling. Gonna be going to Vegas soon, so we're gonna do another situation where we're set up in a different location, and then in January I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be in Colorado, you know what I'm saying, moving around. I'm just trying to move around a little bit more, bro, you feel me? I've been in Texas holding it down for a minute. I'm trying to move around, so let's get into it. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for a lot to come. Thank you so much for 100K too. Let's do it.
Now, the other day we spoke about rapper Saweetie, who's been in the news a lot recently for some serious allegations, and since then things have escalated to the point where she finally responded to the allegations. So the story was this: a woman who claimed to be her former road manager, her name was May, went viral after accusing Saweetie of basically moving like an escort. She even posted alleged screenshots of Saweetie asking how much she could run it up on Premier League football star Jadon Sancho, who Saweetie is currently dating, implying it wasn't romance, it was just business. And instantly, once those allegations hit the internet, the situation blew up because it feeds directly into a narrative people have quietly speculated about Saweetie for years, which is,
and it probably turned into romance too. You know, like, think about your situation as a woman that's willing to do something like that, and then you see Buddy getting tattoos on necks. You know, he's not an ugly guy, he's getting a lot of chicken, and he's probably doing all the romantic things. It probably changed to that very easily. Very easily.
That she allegedly treats relationships more like business moves than anything romantic. Now, this was trending for hours and actually days, and it didn't slow down. It kept feeding the conversation online, especially because the accuser, May, claimed she was only exposing Saweetie because Saweetie, you know, did the dash with her money. She ran with the money, right? And she didn't pay her for these services like she was claiming. And it even got crazier when she referred to Jadon Sancho, the Aston Villa player Saweetie is currently dating, as a client, which is obviously a serious accusation because that wording makes it sound like this was never personal, it was strictly transactional. Right. Very escort-like. Now, up until this point, Saweetie had been completely silent, but after watching this spiral for days, she finally decided to respond to the allegations. She put up a statement on her Instagram and didn't deny it softly. She actually fired back with legal action. Her statement specifically said, and I quote, "The recent accusations made about me are false, defamatory, and deeply disturbing. These claims misrepresent the facts and are solely aimed to damage my reputation. This person never managed me. She was simply introduced to me by family. Her motives are now obvious. I'll let the lawyers take it from here." So basically, Saweetie was making it clear this wasn't some internet drama anymore. This is legal territory. And
she probably waited, said, hey, talk to her lawyers about it. Hey, what can we do here to figure this out? Because to go ahead and come out with that claim and say, hey, this is not what happened, she tripping, knowing that Shorty could expose whatever more that she can expose, she probably was like, okay, I'm not gonna say nothing, get ahead of it. Hey, this was going on, this is what she's saying, send her all the things that she needs to send her, so if she says something else, it could hurt her, and then we'll fight it like that, and then I'm gonna come on here and say what I need to say. You feel me? Because it took like when did we react to that? A week ago? Let me see. When did these things start coming out? Before she said, you know what? It's time for me to say this. Let me see. Astral, Dior. Boom. Videos. When did this come out? Saweetie stuff. Saweetie. This one. It's the first one. 9 days ago. You know what I'm saying? So over a week ago, you feel me, she kind of just been enduring everything that's been happening and said, all right, bet, let me get my affairs in order, which is a smart thing to do. You feel me?
And honestly, I think this was the right type of response for a few reasons. First of all, no matter what you or me personally think about Saweetie, she does have the right to defend herself, because as far as we know, these are still just allegations. Nothing has been proven, and that's why I think it's important to cover both sides of this conversation.
Sure.
Someone came out and claimed she was involved in something wild. That's their side. But obviously the person making those claims has their own motives, especially if money is involved, which we know. And then you have Saweetie on the other end, who's not just pushing back against the escort allegations, but also against a whole list of other accusations, because it didn't stop there. May also accused her of doing cocaine, being involved in witchcraft, and even said that liquor is one hell of a mix. So when you have someone coming for you like this publicly, aggressively, and throwing around serious accusations, it's deeper than just drama on Saweetie's end. Her name is her vehicle for money, her brand, her image. That's how she gets deals, brand partnerships, sponsorships, appearances. So accusations like this hit directly at her earning power. Now, on the other side of things, even if any of this was true, let's be real, she's not going to come out and admit it. It wouldn't benefit her, obviously. So we're left in that gray area of her word versus the accuser's word. And honestly, I don't think this woman is going to say anything else after this.
No.
I mean, Saweetie, at the end of the day, she got resources, she got lawyers,
got the legal action.
Very powerful team. And if you look at situations like this historically, the bigger celebrity almost always tries to make an example out of the accuser to deter anyone else from trying something like this in the future, right? And then we have 25-year-old.
She's not gonna get her money.
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, and especially with his money, that money that she said, y'all need to pay me. All that money, they just put the money that was supposed to get paid, just went straight to the lawyers and gave them even more and more and more. And they just looking at this case, all this paperwork. Oh yeah, don't worry about it. We gonna handle this. Don't worry about it. Trust me, Jada, Saweetie. Think we got something here. You feel me? They shook their hands and smiled like, oh yeah, we got it. Don't worry. Take it from here.
Straight bullet in all this, or a couple actually, figuratively speaking. He just got dragged into a bunch of mess, a bunch of gossip, a scandal that has nothing to do with football. Now, speaking of Jadon, the accuser actually went after him as well. She posted another story accusing him of inhaling balloons, laughing gas, I assume, right? And even included an alleged conversation where he claimed he wasn't able to reach Saweetie after an argument back in March. Now, that's a whole other topic, obviously, and I'm not going to go down that path. Very irrelevant to what we're focusing on today. But the point is, I don't think more is coming out right now unless the accuser wants more smoke, which seems very unlikely. But regardless, this is going to shape the way people view Saweetie going forward. And it's one thing when people hear rumors.
I think it did enough. And, although it's going to be, it did enough for what she wanted it to do. For us to all be like, dang, look at you. Look how she coming. You know what I'm saying? Look how Saweetie's coming. It did what it needed to do. You feel what I'm saying?
The grapevine is completely different when someone goes public with screenshots and calls your current man a client. And it actually reminds me of how her relationship with Quavo ended. For anyone who doesn't remember, a few months before they officially broke up, Quavo actually gifted Saweetie a custom Bentley as an early Christmas present. It was a whole moment, right? And Saweetie was ecstatic when she found out that Quavo was doing this. Like a lot of people know, they were in a very public relationship, always online, always watched and always posting about each other. But after things ended, reports surfaced that Quavo actually sent a repo man to take the Bentley back. For my international viewers, that basically means the car was reclaimed and taken away. According to earlier reports, Quavo had actually leased a car in his own name, and the deal included an option that allowed him to terminate the contract early after the breakup. Now, multiple outlets later claimed that wasn't true and that the car was never repossessed, actually. But then Quavo came out and confirmed it himself. This is what he said on a song with Drake. She had it her way, now she out of a Bentley. Skrrr. So whether it actually happened or not, the message was clear.
Hey, before we get back into the video, I got a way you can make some extra bread. I know you bored at home right now, bro. And all you have to do is play games and get paid for it. If you hit the link in my description or scan the QR code on the screen right now, you can sign up to freecash.com and start getting paid right now. And they make it extremely simple. First, just create an account like any other site and email and password. And once you get in, you'll see a wall of games and offers immediately. Pick a game that you actually like, play through the levels, and the cash will land straight into your free cash account. It's basically turning your downtime into a hustle without you even thinking about it. People pulling $10 to $20 a day, and with some effort, you can go way higher than that. You can spend a couple bucks in game to hit levels faster that'll ultimately give you bigger offers and payouts. That's the method on how some users end up making hundreds, even 500 or more on certain offers. But you don't have to spend any money. You can literally stick to the free levels and still cash out. The whole point is when you're taking a break from those Astral Dior videos, doom scrolling, looking at women, you could be playing and earning at the same time. Get to your money, bro. And once you run it up and want to cash out, you've got options of PayPal or gift cards. So if you want to get to that extra cheese, hit the link in the description or scan the code on the screen, sign up for free, and start playing for cash on your spare time. And when you use my link or QR code, you get $5 bonus to get you started, bro. Go ahead, get to it. Let's do it.
Quavo implied that the relationship came with conditional benefits, money, status, maybe even tricking, depending on how you look at it. And that's the point, right? No woman wants this type of narrative attached to her name, especially when she's a public figure like Saweetie. Most of us can see what's going on, though. We're not dumb. But these women don't want to be in a position where their entire value is publicly reduced to which man they're standing next to or how much pum they're willing to give up in exchange for some coins, okay? And they especially don't want to put the men they're with in a situation where it looks like they're being used, although they may not feel like they are, right? Because most of these very powerful, wealthy, and extremely influential men, they got a whole lot of money. So for them to kind of like blow it on a person or like a woman, right? It's not a big deal for them. And also the fact is, a lot of these powerful dudes with money and resources are always going to be attracted to beautiful women. That's not new. And a lot of women who may not be as
willing
rich
to put that money up
are naturally
quick.
going to want something in return. Access,
and that money make you skip a lot of steps, bro. The money, like certain steps that you would have needed to get a certain type of woman, is going to make certain steps, like certain dates that were big, and it's tough. It's unfortunate. And this is why certain people. Like, this is why you see a lot of these people with so much bread be in these relationships and they don't even be working a certain way. But then you'd see, like, certain people, like, who are like in the relationships, like, say, like LeBron, or people that's been with their woman since before it had popped, you know, and they're with that person for so long, or they're at least that person is still in their life for so long. They value that. Like, I could never. In no world, I don't see me and my girl ever not being together. But in a world where we not, like, I would still be, you know, she been with me since before this. A lot of the things, I'm not here without her, you feel me? So I could never see myself not making it to where, no matter how much money I'm getting, where she not living a certain life, especially the mother of my child, you know, that person, you're always going to end up seeing, for the most part, unless it's just a bad way it ended, or that person is just a real slime mug. Like, man, I ain't worried about shorty. I'm living my new life with the new host. Typically, you're going to see that person still take care of those people around them. You feel what I'm saying? Look at YB. All his BMs, they all good. You feel me? Because he's standing on a certain principle. He might get a new woman, but every single past woman with that child, they still all taken care of. You feel what I'm saying? Because he values his children, and I'm sure he has some type of way that he values that relationship in some way, shape, or form. You feel me?
Protection, opportunities.
But when you get money, new, and you haven't been in nothing, that's why you see these people. They still trying to, like, man, that a certain girl can never love them and certain things like that, because, bro, like, you skip so many steps when you had that cheese. All it take is taking a woman of a certain that held certain values to a place, to a restaurant somewhere she's never been. These niggas, they go so crazy. Like, it's not even like, oh, let's go to this restaurant for our first date. Dang, it's nice. Okay, for some women it's that. But imagine you got the power to say, oh, come with me. Let's go to Paris. Let's go to my favorite restaurant in Paris. You know, let's just kick it they get to know each other for a full week. She gonna be us, like, she not gonna show her hand the way she is in a certain way. She not even change the type of being she is until one day it shows, and now you really get to know this person. You feel what I'm saying?
Lifestyle, you name
That's
it.
how I be thinking about it and seeing it. That's my speculation. I wouldn't know though.
And as long as it stays private and consensual, it really is nobody's business. But the second it reaches the public, Blackie gonna speak on it, right? But it becomes a topic of conversation for a hot minute, and then we all move on until it resurfaces once again. We do have to touch on the fact that more often than not, however, with situations like this, somebody ends up getting taken advantage of. And I'm specifically talking about prostitution, right? And I'm not even saying that's the case here, by the way. I just want to make it very clear. Obviously, these are allegations, right? I'm talking in general. Once money, power, and sexuality mix, that dynamic gets murky real quick. And the issue with normalizing this type of arrangement is that it sends the wrong signal to the world and other people, but especially young women watching. Like, as an example, there's already a whole sugar daddy culture that's normalized in a lot of places around the world. I'm sure some of y'all have heard about that, but a sugar daddy is essentially where a man with money, usually an older gentleman, funds a woman's lifestyle, usually a younger woman. And in some cases, she may not even give up the the pussy. The guy's just happy to be in close proximity to an attractive woman who makes...
I knew a girl that was living her that's the life she was living for real. Like, she was able to live that lifestyle and live a certain way, all by being on the phone. Might have go out and kicked it with buddy for a minute, and she was telling me a dude was sending her his whole check. She had a dude that was sending her whole check to him. Like, the check would drop and he send it just like that. I don't know if buddy would get weekly checks or whatever his spending was, but he would get a check sometimes, and just as soon as it dropped, he would take a picture. Oh, just got this check, send the whole thing to you, baby. Boom. but she ain't never. She claims. She claims. I ain't got no reason not to believe her. I don't care. Just what she say, that's what I go with. Okay, I'm not doing no investigating, but that's what she said, and I'm like, damn, that's a crazy life. That's a crazy
feel
life.
like she cares, right? But let's be honest, in most cases, she does give it up just enough to keep that income stream flowing to her bank account. And yeah, it might be two grown adults making a decision, but that doesn't mean the situation is healthy or balanced. And what's even crazier is these days, I've been personally seeing older women, like a lot of older women.
You have, bro. That's a weird, interesting situation. You have lived a different life.
Literally teaching younger women how to run this type of game online. Like there are entire communities and even businesses built around this. So essentially they teach a lot of young women how to target wealthy men, how to study them, how to emotionally manipulate them, and kind of create a situation where you're always coming out on top and you get the money, right? So the question then becomes are there any morals in teaching young women to weaponize their feelings, their bodies, and hustle people for cash? I don't think so. With that being said, I wouldn't look at a man as a victim in that situation, just like I wouldn't see Saweetie as a victim if, let's say, what she did with Jadon Sancho was purely transactional, right? If that was the case, I wouldn't look at her as the victim, and then I also wouldn't look at, let's say, a man who's kind of in this sugar daddy dynamic. I wouldn't look at none of these two cases like a victim, right? However, and this is important, my concern with this kind of normalization of this type of thing is, what does it really do to a lot of the younger women in the world watching? That's what worries me. Not the older women who already understand the risks, like a Saweetie who's a grown woman, obviously, but the ones who are impressionable and don't see the trap coming. Because there is a caveat to all this, okay? I'm talking about that 16 or 17-year-old girl who hears an older woman bragging about how she's running up a bag just by spending an hour or two with some 65-year-old man, and suddenly she thinks that's a viable option. So now in her world,
this is why it's important for that person to have certain people in their life, you know what I'm saying? Father figures, mother figures, people that are lived a certain way that can say, hey, let me break this down to you. You feel what I'm saying? Because I can tell it could be easy to see that and be like, hey, this is how you could get it and run it up as a woman. You feel me? You could do it like that, but it always, like, there's a caveat to every situation, bro. Every situation. There's just sometimes in when good situations, there might be something less to risk that you're willing to be like, oh, nah, take that. You feel me? It might be a good thing to let that go. But in situations like this, you're letting a lot of things that matter are being pushed to the back of a mindset.
That looks like an easier path than working, building skills, or actually betting on herself and getting it out the mud the proper way like the rest of us. And honestly, it probably is easier, but only for a very short time. She goes down that.
Not probably, and it might not even be short, but it's just a day, bro. I feel like a day will come, like a creep up day where you don't even realize until you look back and you're like, damn, a lot of things done went south, or a lot. I'm really in a situation where, like, I don't want to do this no more, but I have to. It's like the Ruby Rose video I watched today too. You feel me? Like, she was claiming like she feel like she got to do it. Yeah, because you probably do to maintain the lifestyle that you live in. You don't have to, but the lifestyle you want to live, you got expenses that you can't make this. You can't pay those expenses without doing the job you're doing. So, like, but you made your bed though. You feel me?
Path gets flown out to all these different places, surrounded by other women who are already in that lifestyle, hyping her up.
Yeah.
She might think that she's winning for a period of time until shit gets real, before she even realizes that she's no longer in control. What started as luxury and I got flown out vibes can very easily slide into full-on exploitation. And yes, in the worst cases, like we all know, that's how a lot of young girls end up in traffic.
Yeah, in those situations. And I heard a horrible story. My mom told me they didn't even get the luxuries. It was just a bad story, but I'm not gonna go deep into it, or really tell it at all, because it's her story, and I just heard it from my mom. So I don't really know all the details. I just know it's horrible, bro.
Stories like that, because once you step into a world controlled by money and power, there's no guarantee you get to walk out on your own terms. Okay, that's just a fact. At that point, it's not about what you want anymore. It's about what they decide. And that's when a lot of these young girls finally realize this was never about empowerment. Those older, washed-up women lied to you. It was a trap. You thought it was a game of luxury, but really, it was about ownership, and you are now owned. And also, let's talk about the fact that a lot of the men who engage in this lifestyle aren't saints either. So from the start, you're placing yourself in the hands of people who don't care about your safety, your dignity, or your future. I don't personally want to live in a world where my future daughter thinks exchanging her body for coins is an option. It's not respectable. It's not something we should teach young people, period. Or should I say period? It's just always better to earn your own money or build with someone you genuinely love, stack together, grow together. That's healthy. That's the right way to do things. Because there's a right way to do shit, right? And this shit right here that we're talking about, it's very dysfunctional. Stories like this are warnings. They show what society is on the verge of normalizing. And I think most people listening, I would hope, agree this ain't it. Now, as for Saweetie, we're going to see how this plays out. Maybe she'll address it through the music, which honestly is the smartest move she could make.
Oh, my better.
She could be like, icy girl, I never busted down for money. Net worth 4 M's, gotta stack my hundreds. I don't know.
Okay.
Because in 2025, the worst thing you can do is crash out emotionally on social media. So just put it into the music, right? And good on the icy girl for not crashing out, right? Actually, salute her, man. Salute to a real bitch for keeping it player, okay? So, this was definitely...
Alrighty. Well, that being said, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like the video, sub up, comment up. Visit the channel. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Great for y'all, man. We gone. ADD led to it.